In a startup world, there is a mantra that's been around for years, coined by Paul Graham, founder of Y Combinator. Do things that don't scale. If you are just starting to build your startup, there is a crucial period where the most unscalable tasks become the foundation for explosive growth. Yeah, it sounds almost heretical. Aren't startups supposed to be all about hockey stick growth and building for millions of users? Yet the truth is, in their fragile first months, startups often survive and thrive because founders hustle in ways that won't scale. And that's exactly what kickstarted the growth later on. Think of your startup like an old car that needs a hand crank to go engine running. Once it's going, it can run on its own, but first you got to crank up manually. Hi, I'm Sophia, product manager at Monfire, and this video is a down-to-earth guide for founders on how and why to do this unscalable thing that set the stage for explosive scalability later. Let's dive in. Here is the twist. The most successful startups didn't just throw out their product and wait for people to come. Instead, they did unscalable stuff first, the stuff that no one talks about. They hustle. They worked personally with customers. They built something small and slow, but they did it in a way that couldn't be automated. Take the example of Stripe. Today it's worth over $92 billion, but it didn't get there by building an automated system and hoping people would sign up. In fact, the Coulson brothers, the founders, did something completely unscalable. They went out, personally installed Stripe on people's laptops, and walked them through the process. That is as unscalable as it gets. That's what started the engine for one of the most successful startups of our time. You might be wondering, why would anyone spend time doing this? The answer is simple. Personal effort early on is the magic that fuels your growth. Instead of waiting for users to find your product, you go out and actively recruit them. It might be hard, exhausting, and definitely not scalable, but it works. Your startup in the early stages is fragile. It's like a baby. You can't throw it out there and expect it to run its own. It needs intense care and nutrition. Think of Airbnb. Today it's a $78 billion company, but their early days were anything but glamorous. The founders spent time in New York City knocking on doors, talking to people, and personally helping them photograph and lease their apartments. That effort wasn't scalable, but it was necessary. By engaging in person with users, they manually bootstrap supply and demand in their marketplace until network effect could kick in. The lesson here, your setup won't succeed just by sitting there and hoping things will work out. As a founder, you need to get out of the building and talk to real prospects. You need to put in the work, even if it feels unscalable and inefficient. So what exactly there is unscalable thing that every startup founder should be doing? Recruiting user by hand. Forget waiting for traffic. In the beginning, it's all about getting out there and reaching out to users one by one. It may seem like a tiny effort, but trust me, that's how you build your first loyal users. You don't need a million users to start. You need a few, and those few will help you grow the snowball. What's really matters is your first 10 users. Take care of them. Nurturing your newborn startup. In its early days, your startup is more like a newborn baby than a scale machine. It's a fragile, delicate, and completely dependent on you. Many first-time founders mistakenly juggle a startup by the standards of the established company. In reality, almost all startups are feeble at the start. They don't take all by themselves. Founders have to lift them off the ground. Delight your early users. Early adopters are gold. Make them feel special. In the beginning, you have just a handful of users, so go above and beyond to treat them like a royalty. Send them notes, personally checking on them, offer them new special perks, or give them early access to new features. These personal touches are the unscalable action that build lasting loyalty. Your first user should feel they joined your service, like it was one of the best choices they ever made. Buffer, a SaaS product, took this to the next level by sending physical thank you cards to every new customer. Crazy, right? But effective. Make the experience insanely great. Your product might not be perfect, but experience should be. Even if your product is rough around the edges, delight your user by giving them the insanely great experience. This is the key to making them stick around. Personal attention and direct support can go along the way, especially when the product is in early stages. You're small now, so use it to your advantage. Big companies simply cannot provide a personal touch, but the tiny startups can. Tim Cook isn't going to send you a note after you buy a new iPhone, but you can send one to your user after they try your product. That's your unfair advantage as a startup, to offer a level of service and caring that no big competitor would ever even attempt. The fastest way to spread is to start in a small niche and dominate it. Facebook did exactly this. It began just for Harvard students. That is a market of maybe a few thousand people. But by focusing on one college, Facebook made those students feel like this was built for them. It achieved crucial mass in a micro community before expanding. Only after conquering Harvard did Zuckerberg open Facebook to other colleges, one campus at a time. Each time it felt exclusive, and that exclusivity fueled desire. As Zuckerberg later noted, doing the scalable work of creating each college network made students feel their site was their home. That effort wouldn't scale long term, but it didn't need to. It just had to engine the first spark. No matter your startup's focus, ask. Is there a smaller niche like a city, hobby group, or industry segment where I can catch fire? Win that niche. Know their needs and become essential. It may feel limiting, but it's the best launch pad. Every big fire starts small. There is the problem. Eventually, you will need to scale, but scaling doesn't happen overnight. The unscalable tasks you've been doing are what got you started. However, once you get traction, you can't keep doing everything by hand. This is where the manual work behind the curtain comes in. Let's take Stripe again, for example. In its early days, they promised instant merchant accounts. By setting up an account normally took a while, so the founders manually set up each account quickly, making it seem instant for users. They didn't wait for automation to be perfect before onboarding customers. They took action. You may be doing the same. If you run an AI editing service, for example, early on, a human might need to polish the output to meet users' needs. It might feel like cheating, but it's just hustling. You're solving the problem now and will figure out how to scale later. This approach lets you launch faster and learn faster. Instead of spending months perfecting automation, you can start serving customers in just a month by doing things manually. As you can grow, you'll identify which tasks are the biggest bottlenecks and automate them first. Essentially, you're acting as a wizard of Oz or the human API. Don't rely on the big launch or magic partnerships. A mistake many founders make is overestimating the splashy launch or the big name partnerships. Either to think that success will come if you can launch a feature in TechCrunch or get a big company to partner with you. But in reality, that's not how it works. Think about it. How many huge startup launch events do you vividly remember? Probably not many. The same goes for the partnerships. Founders often chase a deal with a big company thinking it will be their ticket to scale. In practice, that deals almost never live up to the hype. Big companies move slowly, and their incentives rarely lean out with landing rocket fuel to a tiny startup. So instead of banking on a mystical big break, bank on your own hustle. Organic steady growth beats flashy one-time boosts in the long term. So how do you transition from unscalable to scalable? The answer lies in the insights you gather. The unscalable thing you've done have given you the deep understanding you need to automate, build system, and scale the right way. Here is when the real magic happens. When you've done the hard work of getting to know your user and your product, scaling becomes easier. Use what you learned from the unscalable task to build systems that still deliver the personal touch. But let's not forget the ultimate goal. Building something that works for your user, not just your bottom line. Do things that don't scale because those things give you a foundation for everything else. They make your product better, your user happier, and your growth more sustainable. To frame the startup idea, think of it as two parts. The product or service you are building and a scalable hustle you will need to get it ground. This shift in thinking helps you plan from the start, not just what you are building, but what you initially acquire users. Early growth won't happen automatically. You have to hustle, whether that means personally treating users or creating an outstanding experience for a small group. By doing the hard unscalable work now, you'll set your startup up for better scalability later. These early efforts become integrated in your company's DNA, shaping the culture and the way your team operates. To wrap it up, hustle now, scale later. The best startups in the world didn't succeed because they scaled too soon. They succeeded because they did the hard, unscalable work first. They built relationships with early users, learned from their feedback, and used this lesson to create something bigger. If you take one thing away from this video, it should be do the unscalable work now, because it will help you scale better later. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, don't forget to hit the subscribe and like button. Check the links below to follow us on social media for more tips and updates. And if you're ready to take your startup to the next level, visit Malfario. We will help you build fast and smart. Catch you next time!